Dear students, today we'll study second chapter of class 11. We aren't afraid to die if we can all be together. The chapter is authored by Gordon Cook and Alan East. First we'll study the difficult words and phrases, then episodic explanation, theme and message given by the chapter. So the difficult phrases given over here, the list is here, are honing our seafaring skills. These are 5 key phrases which are given just before the chapter begins. Honing our seafaring skills. Honing, the word comes from H-O-N-E, hone. Hone means to sharpen, to enhance, to make better. And seafaring means the sailing techniques. It means honing seafaring skills means to make improvement in the techniques of becoming better sailor. Then pinpricks in the vast ocean. Vast ocean, huge ocean, very big. And pinpricks means very small in size, just like the point of any needle. So over here it talks about 2 islands. And these 2 islands appear to be just like the point of the needle in the vast ocean. That's why he calls them pinpricks in the vast ocean. Next phrase is ominous silence. Ominous means something which gives us a hint that something very bad is going to happen. So silence was there, and that silence was an indicator for something very bad about to happen. A tousled head, uncombed hair. Mayday calls, emergency calls. When the pilots and captains of ship and aeroplane, they are in danger, they communicate the message through radio to the headquarters. And these emergency calls are known as Mayday calls. So we'll see the episode, first one, about the author and family. In this picture we can see Gordon Cook. Gordon Cook is narrating this story, and the story is a first person narrative because he uses I and all. His wife, his son and his daughter, they are the 4 members in the family. He himself is a businessman of 37 years of age, and his wife Mary is there. They have 2 children, son whose name is Jonathan and he is 6 years old, daughter Suzanne who is 7 years in age. His mission is to duplicate the voyage round the world like Captain James Cook. This is Mr. Captain James Cook, who was the captain of Navy, Royal Navy of his country, and he was an explorer, navigator and a cartographer. 200 years back, he made a round, you can say the round around the world through water channels. And Gordon Cook wanted to repeat that journey. He wanted to take the same route which was taken by Mr. James Cook, Captain James Cook, 200 years back. And for that he started preparation also. He made a special boat and he named it Wave Walker. The Wave Walker itself suggests that it was specially designed to sail perfectly in the ocean, in any type of the weather conditions. And whenever he got time, he used to go into the sea with his boat along with his wife and tried his seafaring skills over there. Now, Wave Walker was specially designed. It was 23 meter long and 30 ton in weight, and he tested this boat in the sea again and over again before they started their final journey. Now their planning about the voyage was he had planned to finish that voyage in 3 years and divided the journey in legs, in parts. So the first leg was like he would start from the west coast of Africa and will reach up to Cape Town, covering the distance of 1 lakh 5,000 kilometers. He will start journey somewhere in picture we can see somewhere over here and will reach over there. This is Cape Town. And from Cape Town they have to start their journey into Indian Ocean, which is just close by over here, lying over here. We can see over there. This is the Indian Ocean. This is India over here, and Indian Ocean. So second leg, he planned from Cape Town to east, but he knew that Indian Ocean was very rough ocean, which was a very big danger for the sailors. Situations were always odd and adverse for the sailors because fastly moving and blowing winds and the high rising water waves were a big concern for the sailors. So, taking all these things in mind and as a precaution, he hired two expert sailors of his time, Larry Vigil from America and Herb Siegler. This is Larry Vigil from America. This is Herb Siegler from Switzerland. And then they started their journey from Cape Town. So on 25th December, we are told that by 25th December, they had covered a distance of 3,500 kilometers. And after covering this much distance, as it was expected, they started facing the difficulties of the weather. Atrocious weather, bad weather conditions they faced. They celebrated their new year in the shadow of deadly weather but expected for a change. Conditions were very bad. Winds were blowing at a very fast speed, which was a big concern for them, and the waves were rising very high. Still, they were having the spirit of the sportsmanship. So they celebrated the new year and they continued. But at the same time, they hoped that maybe tomorrow we'll find the better weather conditions. The weather would improve. And the author says that the change was there in the weather, but it was not for better, it was for worse. The weather conditions deteriorated. They became even worse. On 2nd January, they found that the waves became gigantic. And now they had to sail with the storm jib. They dropped the main sail, the big canvas which is used to arrest the winds, and that sail works just like an engine for the boat. But now they removed that bigger sail and they used the smaller ones, so that smaller these sails, storm jib, which is known as storm jib, they will be arresting less amount of the wind, so less pressure will be there on the boat, so it will be enough for them to move on. Everything was tied properly so that the things and articles won't fall off the deck of the boat. And then they had a little change. The speed of the winds dropped and size of the waves became a little bit less. But the author says that it was an ominous silence. We knew that that silence was going to trigger something very worse for we people. The difficulties were going to rise even more to the next level. And then that silence was followed by a towering wave, as it was already expected by them. Then came a very huge and very big water wave. He says that earlier the size of the waves was 15 meter, equal to their mast. Mast is that vertical pole which is used to tie the canvas around. And 15 meter means, you can easily understand, 4-5 story building is equal to 15 meter. But he says that this wave was almost double in height, means around 30 meter high. You can understand the height of the wave and how much gallons of water it contained in it. It was very bad for them. And then suddenly the wave fell on their boat and it smashed it and tossed it just like a rag doll. In this process, narrator himself got hurt very badly and he broke his rib cage. You can see over here. His teeth broke, his rib cage broke, his mouth was profusely bleeding, and his daughter also, Suzanne, also got hurt. Over here you can see the her eye, they became narrow opening. Slit, the word used for the opening of the girl's eyes is used, slit, S-L-I-T. So the swelling was there in around the eyes of the girl, and she wasn't able to open them properly. So in this way they bought many clots, also many injuries also happened to the head of the girl. Also later on they were operated and cured and treated. So both father and daughter got badly hurt in this strike of the wave. Then the men tried very hard to repair the broken side of the boat. Somehow they had to manage and control the situation, otherwise, all the 6 people on the board would die. They knew it very well. And they tried Mayday call. They tried to communicate the message to the authorities in the office, but they couldn't connect to them because of this big shock of the wave. Even their radio stopped working. Now, in this way, they passed 2nd January also, and they entered into the new day, that is 3rd January. And with the help of the hard work and their courage, they could control the water level. Means whatever the water level was there, they try to just maintain it. The reason being, like, they try to repair the right side of the boat, star side of the boat, and found it good. Good in the sense means much amount of the water they were able to block, but still a little leak was there, and the water was trickling inside in little amount, getting inside in a very little amount. Then the author goes into the chart room. Chart room is a room which is containing the information, like maps are there and route information is there. Everything is put up over there. Also the control system of the ship is also that room. So he went over there and consulted the road map, the chart and that map, and he found 2 islands were there, which were, by the way, closer than others, but still they had to travel hundreds of the miles to reach over there. Hundreds of the kilometers were required to move. One of them was Isle Amsterdam. Another's names is not mentioned, by the way. So in this process they passed the 3rd day also, and now comes 4th January. 4th January they continued to fight with water and waves, and they hoisted the storm jib to avoid the drowning, as I told earlier, headed for the islands. So now he calculated the situation, and they continued in the direction of those islands. They were hoping to reach to the island. They wanted to have land under their feet anyhow. So the first meal they took was in 2 days. For continuously 48 hours, they had to be on their toes to manage the situation, and they did it successfully. But on 4th January also, the conditions deteriorated. The weather conditions did not improve, and the speed of the wind became 40 knots. Knots over here means kilometers. The winds were blowing at the speed of 40 kilometers per hour, which was posing a big threat to the narrator and the team. And in this struggle itself, working very hard and fighting against the water, they reached and they entered the next and the new day, that was January 5. Now the situations were desperate, hopeless. There was no hope at all because their boat was completely damaged, and they did not know whether they'll be getting to their desired destination or not. What is the desired destination? That Isle Amsterdam or another island? They were not sure about all these things, but still they were working very hard to remain alive, to survive themselves in that tough time, and using their courage. Queries of the children. So after making arrangement on the board, that boat, the narrator goes inside the cabin of the children, and the girl and the boy, innocently they asked, "Daddy, are we going to die?" The children got the idea their end was near. You can easily understand when the child asks. The parents always want to see the smile on the face of the child. They do everything to make them happy. And the children were asking their parents. They were talking about death in front of a father. How could that be digested by a father? He became overwhelmed with the emotions, but he got charged with the passion also. And his son said, Jonathan said, Father, Daddy, don't worry. I'm not afraid to die if we all die together. And his statement is the title of our lesson. This is spoken by Jonathan. 6-year-old child says that I am not afraid of death. And his words influenced the mind of the father in such a way that he came back and put in the last ounce of his energy to protect and safeguard the boat. He used paraffin barrels, the containers which are used to store oil, and the nylon rope and anchor. This is a metallic structure which is used to fasten the ship or the boat at one place so that when they are at rest, the water waves won't drift them away from seashore. So he used all these things and articles and try to repair the boat. But later on, after every effort, he knew deep down in his heart he had accepted that yes, maybe this is the last moment of our life. So after doing all the arrangements, he sat along with his wife. They sat hand in hand, looking into the eyes of each other, and they said that maybe this is the last meeting. You can understand the plight. Such an emotional scene over here. And in this way, they survived the 5th day also. And now comes the 6th January. So the weather conditions improved. There is a beautiful proverb in English that luck favors the braves, and same happened. From 25th December till 5th of January, this span of 10-12 days, all the people on the board were working very hard, and they had only one desire in mind: how to survive. And existence also supports those people who support themselves. That's why they say God help those who help themselves. So 6th day, 6th January, they saw some improvement in the weather conditions. The wave walker rode out of storm. Because of their wisdom, their skills and courage, they managed to navigate through the darkest part of their journey. And now they were heading for the island, Isle Amsterdam. This is Isle Amsterdam, which is 65 kilometers in size radius. And Shue made caricature with a message of thanks. The girl, when the narrator and two sailors, Larry Vigil, Herb Siegler, and Mary, they were down to their job. They were doing their level best to protect the boat from sinking and capsizing. The girl was making a caricature, a funny cartoon of her father and her mother. So she came with that caricature, that cartoon in hand, and showed it to her father. It was reading, few people are funniest in this world. There are few people who are funniest in this world, and you are the best parents in this world. So this was the message written in that card she was holding, she showed, and the narrator looked at the caricature and he laughed like anything. Both the parents started laughing like anything. Then he consults, it goes back to the chart room once again. He consults over there, and with the help of sextant, this is the instrument. One is compass, which is used to find the direction. This sextant is used to just calculate the angular distance from two places. So he calculated the distance and then used a compass to know the direction, but that was not properly working. It had been, you can say that, damaged because of that, the strike of that and the hit of that wave. So somehow he used his skills, taking the ease allowances. He calculated and found the direction, and he asked Larry Weasel. He was Larry Weasel this time was in the driving seat, and he asked him to take the course at 185 degree. So he turned the boat at 185 degree and started moving in that direction. And the narrator said that if everything goes right, by 5 p.m. in the evening, we'll be getting to the island. If we miss the target, it means we are lost in the ocean. So now we are told that he himself did not believe. He said that by 5 p.m. we'll be getting to the shore of that island, but he himself was not sure about. Why he was not sure about? The reason being he knew that the compass he used for the direction, finding the direction, was not working properly. There was a magnetic fault in it. But still he did his level best, and then he went to his cabin and dozed off. He slept in his room, and then he got up at 6 o'clock. This is the cabin. There's a substitute picture, by the way. In his cabin he slept over there, and at 6 o'clock in the evening his children came to him, to his cabin. Jonathan followed by Suzanne, and Jonathan said that, "Father, I want to hug you." He said that, "What happened? Why you want to hug me?" He said that, both the children said that, "You are the best daddy in the world." He said that, "Sorry children, today I failed. I'm not the best daddy." And the girl said confidently, "Yes, you are. Because see over there, we are on our destination." And lo and behold, in front of them was the small sized island. They call it of the battleship size. And they just anchored their boat by the shore of the island. They deboarded from the boat, and they were given a warm welcome by 28 people who were living on that island. And the moment they reached over there, the past memories, starting from how that journey began and till this point of time, everything flooded and flashed and spinned into the mind of the narrator. How they started journey, then Larry Weasel and Herb Siegler, their contribution of Mary, and contribution of the young children, and the courage of the child when he says that, "I'm not afraid of dying if we all can be together." Everything flooded his mind. And in this way, the chapter ends over here. So it's a beautiful story, students. The reason being, it teaches a lot through this narrative. So let's see the theme of the chapter. And this is union is strength. We know all the 6 people on board, they were working something, they were contributing something to the safety and security of the boat. Even the young children, they couldn't lend their active hand in the repairment of the boat and all, because they were very young, very small. But still, they did not disturb the parents. At the same time, they encouraged the parents and the people through their statements, through their drawings, through their messages. So they never let their morale come down. And it was a big contribution from their side. So union is strength. The whole story revolves around the fact that courage and skills, if they are used in difficult situation, right time, in the right way, they help us win over the situation. And through this chapter, Gordon Cook and his co-author wants to pass on a message to we people that don't lose hope under any circumstances. Students, we know that life is not a bed of roses. It's a journey, and during this journey we have to just pass through so many ups and downs, so many thicks and thins. But the people who are successful and the people who create history are only those who maintain their morale very high, who never lose heart in the face of difficult time and situation. At time life presents very dire situation, very dangerous and difficult situations. But if one is optimistic, the person who always looks at the bright side of the things, the person who is good at looking at the silver cord in the dark cloud, always is able to find the solution and overcome the odds, the difficulties and adversities of the life, and he becomes a big success in his life. So this was the lesson. I hope you got the concept of the lesson. So that's all for now. We'll see you soon with the next video on the next chapter. Till then, take care. Bye bye.